Merry Christmas! Happy holidays! Feliz Navidad! You know, guys, the more I thought about it, there's really not a lot of ways to say Merry Christmas. And you know what we need? We need some New Seasons greetings. That is a 3-week series that we're about to be in. So grab your Christmas trees, grab a blanket, and we're gonna learn. It's gonna be a great time. It is good to see you guys. You know, Christmas is in like 4 weeks, and I feel like it's coming so quickly. Maybe it's because we're in the year of the corona and everything has kind of been mumbled up, and it feels like just yesterday was the spring and now it's almost Christmas. It's crazy, but I remember about a month and a half ago, probably actually by now, which is also crazy, when we were looking for stuff for the Halloween party, getting stuff ready for that. I remember me and Ashley were at the store, and I looked over here, and there was Halloween stuff all over. And then I looked over here, and there was Thanksgiving stuff all over. And then I saw they were clearing shelves, and they were putting Christmas stuff already, all the way back in Halloween. And it just struck me how crazy the Christmas season is. That we normally, not really this year, but we normally have tons of parties and tons of movies and tons of dinners and stuff to go to and to get everything ready for Christmas. I know this year I'm getting some presents, as a lot of you guys are, and sometimes I can be so selfish about the presents that I want. Like my sister-in-law, she was getting me this. I still don't know what she's getting me, but I sent her a fishing pole that I really wanted, and I'm like, hey, this is a good Christmas idea. And then like 2 weeks later, I called her again. I'm like, hey, you know, I sent you that fishing pole. I kind of found a new one I kind of would rather have instead. And I told her that, and that's like kind of dumb because it's just a Christmas gift, and it's kind of selfish to be like, I need this Christmas gift. But we get so consumed with Christmas, and we get so excited about it. And often what that does is the activities surrounding Christmas and everything going on, they seem to dominate every aspect of our lives. And that's not good. I can become kind of guilty of that. Because what is Christmas truly about? It's about Jesus and spending time with Jesus. But so many times I let all this other stuff, getting the perfect Christmas tree, getting the best gifts, getting the cutest Christmas mug, I let that take away from me spending time with the one that it's all about. So we're going to talk about the hustle and the bustle of Christmas and what we should do. So, guys, the thing about Jesus is Jesus probably knew that there would always be a lot of hustle and bustle and stuff going on when it came to him. You see, when Jesus was alive, walking the earth, people were around him all the time. Wherever he would go, crowds would gather, people would come to see him, people would want to touch his cloak to get healed, and something that almost always happened is people would come and want to have a meal with Jesus. And a lot of times he would eat with people that you would expect Jesus to, and a lot of times he would eat with people that maybe you would not expect Jesus to. But someone was always hosting a dinner in honor of Jesus. So in Luke 10, it talks about one of those dinners that was hosted, and this was in the home of Mary, Martha, and possibly her brother Lazarus. So as always, Jesus arrives there with a lot of people, right? He probably came with like 12 people, and they came, and there were probably crowds all around him, and there was probably this huge, exciting thing. And what do these people do, right? Martha, she is concerned with being the perfect hostess. She is focused on getting everything done that needed to get done. And then her sister Mary, she actually was doing the opposite. So let's read from Luke 10. This is what it says. It says, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. So instead of giving into the pressure to host, to clean, to entertain, to accomplish things, like her sister Martha did, Mary, it says that she sits at the feet of Jesus. She spent time with Jesus and listened to what he had to say. And that's awesome. And the crazy thing about this is like she was learning so much. Like this passage is sandwiched right between Jesus talking about how to pray with the Lord's Prayer, and then also giving the parable of the Good Samaritan. So we see Mary is just with him, learning and growing and dedicating her time to Jesus. Meanwhile, right, Martha was not sitting at Jesus' feet. She was not listening, but instead, she was trying to be the perfect hostess, right? There were a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of food got to get made, sleeping arrangements need to be made, probably some dust she got to go and vacuum if they have vacuums back there. And I cannot even imagine the amount of work that hosting Jesus must have required, like all the people going in and out. But Luke says, if we go back to the Bible passage here, but Martha was distracted by all the preparations that needed to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." So I love that little emphasis that Luke is making there, that Martha was distracted. Put that here, distracted. Martha was so frustrated that Mary had left her to do all the work that she actually interrupted Jesus' teaching in order to say, "Hey Jesus, tell her to stop spending time with you and tell her to come and help me." But Martha had missed the point like so many of us do, right? We'll get to that. She got so distracted by all the activity and the busyness surrounding Jesus that she actually thought that the activity of getting stuff ready for Jesus was actually more important than spending time with him, spending time with the one that this whole event was all about. And she wasn't like being mean to Jesus, she wasn't like ignoring Jesus, she was simply distracted. Her priorities were in the wrong place and she forgot what she was supposed to be focusing on. And I think we're all so guilty of this, guys. Like every single one of us. In this holiday season, we get so focused on getting the right presents for people. Like my brothers are all super into fishing, so I got this like fishing membership and I picked out lure after lure. I think I ordered like 35 different items and it was like a lot of money, and I got the perfect lures to them because I wanted to think about like what style of fishing they do and what kind of baits they like, and I went so in depth. I was so distracted. We get distracted making the perfect Christmas presents. We get distracted making sure that everything is ready in our houses. I know my mom used to clean the house so much to make sure that it's perfect, which it's good to clean, but that can become distracting, right? We get so concerned with all these things surrounding Christmas, getting the perfect ugly sweater, the ugliest one for my Christmas party. We get so distracted, right? And sometimes it seems like we're not even serving Jesus, right? We're just serving ourselves, just trying to get it all together, make everything look good. And Jesus' loving reminder, so Mary does this, she's freaking out, she's cleaning, and she's mad about it, right? That Mary just is sitting with Jesus and she has to do all this work. So Jesus' reminder, what he says to Martha, is probably the same thing that he would say to each of us who get so concerned with Christmas. And this, honestly, guys, is not just about Christmas. This is everything. This always happens. We get distracted from Jesus by the things in our lives. Jesus says here back in Luke, "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things. But the few things are needed. Or indeed only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." So he didn't say, "Martha, never clean. Martha, stop making food for people." He doesn't say that. But he says, there's one thing that's important. There's one thing that is important here, and your sister Mary is doing it. He reminds her that there is something better than having things just right, than figuring things out, than being prepared. And that thing is Jesus. Jesus is better. Say it with me, people. Jesus is better. Put it in front of anything. You guys like to play basketball? Jesus is better. You guys like to drive cars? Jesus is better. He is always better. And time with him is better, right? Mary was spending time with Jesus. Time with him is better than the perfect present. Time with him is perfect, or better than the perfect feast, better than a perfect house, better than going to school when you can't go to school anymore. Jesus is better. Jesus is better than you getting the perfect little Christmas present for that girl you got a crush on. He is better than that. Say it for the people in the back. And this is what I think was probably the hardest lesson for Martha to learn, right? Time with Jesus. Listen, people, listen to me. Time with Jesus is better than service with Jesus. So Martha was doing all that she could do, and she was doing that for Jesus. She was doing it to get things ready for Jesus. But Jesus says, Mary chose what was better. And Martha didn't make an evil choice or a bad choice. The thing she was doing was good, but it wasn't the best choice in the moment. Why? Why was that not the best choice? Because Jesus was at her house. Jesus was there, and she wanted to do other things in order to get ready, get things good for Jesus, and not focus on him being there. And that's what we do all the time, guys. We try to get our life perfect. We try to make sure we're serving and that we're doing all these things that Jesus would like and that will help us to get into heaven, but we don't even spend time with Jesus. And we need to be doing that. We need to be spending time with him. And in this Christmas season, remembering that he is the most important thing and that this is all about Jesus. You guys like my Christmas mug? I think things just taste better out of my Christmas mug. Just saying. Like, normal coffee tastes like peppermint mocha. For real. Okay. So I told you what we should do, right? Spend more time with Jesus because he is better. So how do we do that? How do we choose what is better? How do we so remember I said we should have more Christmas greetings, more seasons greetings instead of just Merry Christmas? Here's another one. Have a Merry Christmas, not a Martha Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas. So I spent some time thinking of practical things that we can do during this season to be more like Mary, to spend time with Jesus instead of being like Martha and spending all this time getting ready and preparing all the things. And honestly, guys, normally every year, this lesson would make a lot of sense because there would be a ton going on and there would be a lot of hustle and bustle and going to houses. But we're in COVID season, and in COVID land, it's a little different. So I realized this Christmas, it might not feel like there's a lot. But I know during this holiday season, we have a lot of expectations, right? And a lot of ideas of what we think will be perfect. And some of us are even still fighting the idea that we might not see all the family that we normally would. Like, we're really having a hard time and frankly having a bad attitude about what Christmas is going to look like this year. So these do apply. Like, some things that I'm going to do during this time when things are ramping up is I'm going to take my wife on a date. Because this is a time where people say, oh, there's so much going on, we're getting ready for Christmas during these next 3 weeks. Okay, well, my wife's more important. Because part of what this means, and this applies to all sorts of types of life, is we are prioritizing the relationships that matter. So for example, I am going to prioritize my relationship with Jesus above anything. I'm going to spend time with him because we're in a busy season or because I feel mad about Christmas. I'm not going to not spend time with Jesus. I'm going to prioritize my time with Jesus. And then I'm going to prioritize my time with Ashley. I'm going to go out on a date with her. This week or next week. It's going to be awesome. And it's not going to be about getting ready for Christmas, right? I'm also going to play with my son. Even when I'm busy, even when I feel like I don't have time or I have to get stuff ready or I have to make the youth your blessing. That relationship is more important. Jesus is most important than my wife, than my son, than all you awesome guys. And that's how it is. And like part of it too is like after Christmas. Like if I get a really fun Xbox game, is it okay because it was a Christmas present that I sit down and play Xbox for 6 hours a day? No! I need to care about the relationships in my life, and most predominantly the relationship that I have with Jesus. Right? And that's what we need to do. Jesus is better, and we can spend time with him. Right? And I'm going to realize that the things that often make us think that like this is what Christmas is about, it's often not what it's about, right? It's not about Christmas presents. It's not about family. It's not about trees. It's actually about Jesus. And then part of that is I'm going to focus on the people that are actually in need. Like, I'm going to look around to my neighbors, to the people that are struggling in our city. And they really need things, right? They need food. They need water. They need winter clothing. I don't need another Xbox game. I don't need 5 Starbucks gift cards that are each $5 and barely gets me one drink, right? But I have the opportunity this Christmas to share the love of Jesus with others. And if I spend all my time focused on that stuff that is just Christmassy and doesn't matter, I'm going to miss the things that Jesus has given me. So, to respond to this, guys, as we close, this Christmas, we will be tempted to spend our time and our attention on the activity surrounding the arrival of Christ. Like Martha, right? The activity. There's nothing wrong with shopping, school stuff, dinners, parties, all that stuff that we do at Christmas. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's what Martha did, right? She spent all that time doing that extra stuff. But we have the opportunity to be like Mary, choosing something better this holiday season. We have the opportunity to spend it with the one whose arrival we are celebrating. We have the opportunity to be with Jesus. He is the miracle of Christmas. He is what this is about. Do not lose out on the person it's about by the hustle and bustle of the activity. Right? The prophet Isaiah, he writes this centuries before Jesus is born. He said, therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. And if God with us is the point of Christmas, God with us, why don't we make it a point to spend time with God, right? Seriously, guys. So let's put some time aside to read the accounts of his advent as we go through this Advent series, and we'll ask his Holy Spirit to work in us and through us. And let's find ways during this holiday season that we can sit and listen at the feet of Jesus. So this year, let's make it a point to have a Merry Christmas instead of a Martha Christmas. Good to talk to you guys. I'm excited. We got 3 weeks, new seasons. Greetings. Let's go. Merry Christmas. Oh, I almost spilled that. Merry Christmas.